Have you ever felt a strange sense of déjà vu, not about a place, but about a day? You wake up, and it feels like yesterday. The same low-grade frustration, the same goals gathering dust on a mental shelf, the same quiet whisper in the back of your mind that says, "I was meant for more than this." It's like being a passenger in your own life, watching the scenery go by, waiting for your stop. But the driver never seems to know the destination. You tell yourself, tomorrow things will be different. But tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next month. And soon you've spent a year living the same day on a loop. What if I told you that the driver you're waiting for is you? What if the map you're looking for isn't out there somewhere, but folded up in your own pocket? The profound and terrifying truth is that your life will not change until you decide to change. Not when the economy improves, not when you get a better boss, not when you feel more motivated. It changes the second you look in the mirror and declare, "It starts with me." This isn't about some secret formula or magic pill. This is about taking back the controls. It's about dismantling the excuses, rebuilding your habits, and choosing to become the person you know you can be. This is your wake-up call. If you're ready to make a change, stick with me. And if you find value in what you hear today, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content that can help you transform your life. Now, let's begin. Chapter 1. The Mirror Principle. It all starts with you. There is a fundamental truth that underpins every story of transformation, every tale of success, every single instance of a life turned around. It's a truth so simple that we often overlook it, and so profound that it holds the power to change everything. It is this: your life begins and ends with you, not your parents, not your circumstances, not the world. You. If your life is not where you want it to be, the first instinct for most people is to look out the window. They look at their job, their relationships, their finances, the political climate. They look for an external reason to explain their internal dissatisfaction. They point fingers. They cast blame. It feels productive, even comforting, to identify an outside enemy. But blame is a sedative. It numbs you to the pain of your own inaction, but it does nothing to heal the wound. The first, most difficult, and most crucial step toward any real change is to stop looking out the window and start looking in the mirror. Because until you take radical, uncompromising ownership of where you are right now, you are powerless to get anywhere else. Ownership is not about guilt. It's not about punishment or shame. It's the opposite. Ownership is about reclaiming your power. It's the profound realization that if your choices led you here, new choices can lead you somewhere else. Think of a captain of a ship caught in a storm. A weak captain blames the wind. He curses the waves. He complains about the faulty weather report. The ship is tossed about, at the mercy of the elements, drifting aimlessly. But a true leader, a true captain, grabs the wheel. He acknowledges the storm. He doesn't deny its existence, but he understands that his response is what matters. He shouts orders, adjusts the sails, and steers the vessel with intention, not in reaction. He takes ownership of the ship and its destination, regardless of the weather. You are the captain of your ship. The storms of life are inevitable. There will be economic downturns, unexpected challenges, and people who let you down. You cannot control the weather, but you and only you can control the ship. Blame is giving the wheel to the storm. Ownership is taking it back. Most people live in a state of perpetual delay. They wait for the storm to pass. They tell themselves, once things calm down, then I'll get serious. Once I get that promotion, then I'll focus on my health. Once the kids are older, then I'll work on my dream. This is a trap. It's a self-imposed prison of someday. You are outsourcing your personal responsibility to a future that may never arrive. Change doesn't come from the outside in. It radiates from the inside out. It's a decision, made in a quiet moment of brutal honesty, that you are responsible for it all. The victories and the defeats, the progress and the stagnation, the strength you've shown and the times you've let things slide. It takes immense courage to admit that. It takes humility to look at your life and say, I haven't been giving my best. I am the one who built these habits. I am the one who accepted this standard. But in that admission, you find freedom. If you created the mess, you can clean it up. If your apathy led you to this point, your discipline can lead you out. That isn't weakness. That is the ultimate form of control. You don't have to wait for a hero. You don't have to hope for a lucky break. The perfect moment isn't coming. The perfect moment is now. The moment you decide that you are done waiting and ready to start leading. So I ask you, how are you truly living? Not the curated version you post online. Not the story you tell your friends. Deep down, when it's just you and your thoughts late at night. How are you spending your days? What do your daily actions say about your priorities? Are you building the life you want, or are you just passing time? If you don't like the answer, don't run from it. Don't numb yourself with another hour of scrolling or another episode of a show you've already seen. Face it. Let that honest answer be your new foundation. The truth, no matter how uncomfortable, is the only solid ground upon which you can build a new reality. Don't be ashamed of where you are, but be absolutely committed to not staying there. The power has been in your hands all along. The question is, are you finally ready to use it? Chapter 2. The Action Imperative. Close the gap between knowing and doing. There is a vast, cavernous gap in most people's lives. It's not a gap in intelligence or talent or even opportunity. It is the gap between knowing what to do and actually doing it. Most people already know. You know you should wake up earlier. You know you should exercise. You know you should finish that project, make that call, or fix that broken routine. The knowledge isn't the problem. The knowing has never been the problem. The problem is the paralysis of inaction. We live in a world drowning in information, but starved of execution. We consume endless motivational videos, read self-help books, and listen to podcasts, filling our minds with strategies and plans. We feel a temporary rush, a spark of inspiration. We tell ourselves, this is it. This is the start of something new. But then, nothing happens. The spark fades, and we're left in the same room, with the same habits, facing the same challenges. Here's the blunt truth. Nobody is coming. Nobody is going to drag you out of bed in the morning. Nobody is going to unplug your internet when you need to focus. Nobody is going to force you to choose the salad over the fries. That responsibility is yours and yours alone. Your best self is not waiting on the other side of more information. it's waiting on the other side of your next action. Growth doesn't happen when you're comfortable. It doesn't happen when you're inspired. Real growth happens in the trenches of the mundane, the inconvenient, and the difficult. It happens when your alarm goes off and it's dark and cold outside, and every fiber of your being screams for 10 more minutes of sleep. But you get up anyway. It happens when you've had a long, exhausting day at work, and the couch is calling your name. But you put on your running shoes anyway. That is where lives are changed. Not in the grand declarations, but in the quiet, unglamorous, and repeated acts of discipline. Consider the story of a young programmer named Alex. Alex had a brilliant idea for an app that could revolutionize how people manage their personal finances. For months, he talked about it to anyone who would listen. He mapped out flowcharts, designed logos, and wrote a 50-page business plan. He knew exactly what he needed to do, but every time he sat down to write the first line of code, a wave of resistance washed over him. I need to do more research, he'd tell himself. Maybe I should take another online course first. He was stuck in the getting ready to get ready phase. Meanwhile, his colleague, Maria, had a much simpler idea. She wanted to build a small, basic to-do list app. She didn't have a grand business plan. She didn't spend months planning. One weekend, she just started coding. The first version was clunky and full of bugs. It was ugly, but it worked. She showed it to a few friends, got feedback, and made it slightly better. Then she did it again. And again. A year later, Alex was still perfecting his business plan. Maria's simple app had 10,000 users and was generating a modest income. The difference wasn't the idea, it was the action. Maria closed the gap. People wait for motivation to strike like lightning. But motivation is a fickle friend. It visits when it wants and leaves without warning. Discipline, on the other hand, is a muscle. You build it through use. It's not a feeling, it's a choice. And you make that choice moment by moment. The choice to start before you feel ready. The choice to move before you feel confident. Confidence is not a prerequisite for action. It is a byproduct of it. You don't become confident by thinking confident thoughts. You become confident by doing the things you were afraid to do. You build the evidence of your own capability, one action at a time. Each time you follow through, you cast a vote for the person you want to become. You are telling yourself, I am someone who keeps my promises. I am someone who shows up. Stop trying to feel ready. Ready is a myth. You will never feel 100% ready. There will always be a reason to wait, an excuse to delay. Life doesn't pause for you to catch up. The perfect moment is an illusion. The real moment is now, with all its imperfections. So what does action look like for you right now? It doesn't have to be monumental. You don't need to overhaul your entire life by sunset. It's the small, tangible steps that build momentum. Clean that one corner of your room that's been bothering you. Write one paragraph of that report. Go for a 10-minute walk. Make one healthy meal. The only way to build momentum is to start moving, even if it's slow, even if it's messy. Movement begets movement. You don't need more motivation. You need more motion. Action moves you forward. Overthinking, complaining, and blaming keep you spinning in circles. When you start doing the work, your mind begins to clear. You feel more in control. A new strength emerges. You start seeing results, however small, and that progress becomes its own fuel. It's addictive. You won't want to go back. You'll start pushing yourself, not because someone told you to, but because you've tasted what it feels like to move forward. That's how real change begins. Not with a shout, but with a step. Chapter 3. The architecture of your days. Rebuilding your habits. If you feel like your life is a car veering off the road, it's rarely because of a single dramatic turn of the wheel. More often, it's the result of 1,000 tiny, imperceptible nudges in the wrong direction. These nudges are your habits. They are the quiet architects of your existence, building your future brick by brick, day by day, whether you are paying attention or not. And if you are not consciously designing them, they will build a life for you, a life of convenience, comfort, and quiet mediocrity. You cannot change your life if you do not change your daily routines. You can have the grandest vision, the most ambitious goals, and the strongest desires, but if your daily behavior is not aligned with that vision, you are simply engaging in wishful thinking. Your habits are the invisible threads that weave the fabric of your identity. They are what you do when you're not thinking, and that automaticity is both their greatest strength and their most dangerous threat. If you don't control your habits, they will absolutely control you. Think about the first hour of your day. For millions, it looks something like this. The alarm blares. They hit snooze once, twice, 3 times, starting the day with an act of procrastination. Finally, they roll over, and the first thing they reach for is their phone. Their mind is immediately flooded with a curated stream of other people's lives, breaking news, urgent emails, and endless notifications. Before their feet even touch the floor, they are in a state of reaction, their focus fractured, their energy already being pulled in a dozen different directions. They start the day in chaos, and then wonder why the rest of it feels so overwhelming. It's like trying to run 20 browser tabs in your brain at once before you've even had a sip of water. Now, imagine a different morning. The alarm goes off, and you get up. No negotiation. You make your bed, a small, immediate victory. You drink a glass of water. You spend 10 minutes stretching, or meditating, or writing in a journal. You don't look at your phone. You spend the first precious moments of your day in a state of intention, not reaction. You set the tone. You decide what matters. Which of these two people is more likely to have a productive, focused, and fulfilling day? Cleaning up your habits isn't about becoming a robot. It's about creating systems that support your best self, especially on the days you don't feel like it. Motivation is a fair-weather friend, but a strong habit shows up in the rain. The first step is a ruthless audit. Take a piece of paper and, without judgment or emotion, track your actual behavior for a few days. Not what you think you do, but what you actually do. What time do you go to bed and wake up? What is the first and last thing you do each day? What do you eat? How much time do you spend scrolling? What are your default actions when you feel bored, stressed, or tired? You have to see the full, unvarnished picture before you can repaint it. Once you have the data, you can begin the work of replacement, not just removal. It's incredibly difficult to simply stop a bad habit. The void it leaves is too tempting to fill with something equally unproductive. The key is to replace a negative routine with a positive one. Instead of saying, "I will stop scrolling on my phone when I'm bored," say, "When I feel the urge to scroll, I will pick up a book for 5 minutes," or "I will do 10 push-ups." You are rewriting the script your brain follows automatically. Start small. The biggest mistake people make is trying to change everything at once. They go from a sedentary lifestyle to vowing to hit the gym 2 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's unsustainable. It leads to burnout and a feeling of failure, reinforcing the belief that I just can't stick to anything. Forget extreme. Aim for committed. Pick one, just one, keystone habit to focus on. A keystone habit is a small change that creates a ripple effect, naturally leading to other positive changes. For some, it's making their bed. For others, it's a 10-minute walk after dinner, or preparing their clothes for the next day before bed. These actions sound simple, and they are. But they are not easy. Their power lies not in their difficulty, but in their consistency. Every time you perform a good habit, you are casting a vote for a new identity. Making your bed isn't about having a tidy room. It's a vote for being an organized person. Choosing to read instead of scroll isn't just about learning. It's a vote for being a thoughtful person. These small acts of self-respect compound over time. The external results, a cleaner home, a healthier body, are just the lagging indicators of an internal shift. You are becoming someone who follows through. Your environment is a silent partner in your habits. If you want to eat healthier, don't keep junk food in the house. Make it hard to fail. If you want to read more, leave a book on your pillow. If you want to stop hitting snooze, put your alarm clock across the room. Design your space to nudge you toward your goals, not away from them. Stop relying on willpower alone. It's a finite resource. Build a system that makes good choices the path of least resistance. Your habits will fight you. The pull of the old and familiar is strong. Your mind will rationalize, just this once. Your body will crave the comfort of the old routine. This is the moment of truth. This is where you must be stronger than your excuses. You are not just breaking a habit. You are breaking an agreement you made with your weaker self. And every time you win that small battle, you get stronger. Your future is being built in these tiny, moment-to-moment decisions. Control your habits, or they will undoubtedly control you. Chapter 4. The Currency of Time. From wasted hours to intentional living. Of all the resources you possess, there is one that is perfectly, democratically distributed. It doesn't matter if you are rich or poor, young or old, living in a bustling metropolis or a quiet village. You get 24 hours in a day, 1,140 minutes, 86,400 seconds. This is the one currency that cannot be saved, borrowed, or earned back. Once a second is spent, it is gone forever. How you spend this finite, non-renewable currency is the single greatest indicator of your priorities and the ultimate predictor of your future. You can say your health is important, but if you can't find 30 minutes to move your body, your actions tell a different story. You can say you want to build a side business, but if your evenings are spent on a 4-hour streaming binge, your time allocation betrays your words. Your life is the sum of how you spend your hours. Most people don't have a time problem. They have a priority problem that manifests as a time problem. They don't run out of time. They leak it away in small, unnoticeable increments. 10 minutes scrolling through social media feeds. 15 minutes in a gossip-filled conversation that adds no value. A half hour searching for something to watch. These little moments seem harmless, but they are leaks in the bucket of your life. Over a week, a month, a year, those lost minutes add up to days and weeks of squandered potential. Think of your time not as a river flowing past you, but as a plot of land you've been given to cultivate. If you leave it untended, weeds will grow. Distractions, other people's priorities, and mindless entertainment will quickly overrun the space. But if you are intentional, you can cultivate a magnificent garden. You can plant seeds of knowledge, nurture projects that bring you fulfillment, and grow the life you desire. This requires a plan. It requires a fence to protect your garden from intruders. It requires you to be a deliberate gardener, not a passive observer. The first step to becoming a master of your time is to stop being a victim of it. Banish the phrase, "I don't have time," from your vocabulary. It is a lie. What you are really saying is, it's not a priority. When you reframe it that way, it forces a level of honesty. "I don't have time to exercise" becomes, "My physical health is not a priority." That stings a little more, doesn't it? It should. That discomfort is a catalyst for change. Start with structure. A day without a plan is a day that will be dictated by others. You don't need a minute-by-minute military schedule, but you do need to define your non-negotiables. Identify the 2 to 3 most important tasks, the big rocks, that will move you closer to your goals. Schedule them into your day as if they were unbreakable appointments with your most important client, your future self. Do them first, before the chaos of the day can intervene. A manager named David felt perpetually behind. He arrived at work, opened his email, and spent his morning reacting to constant barrage of requests. By the end of the day, he had been incredibly busy, but he hadn't made progress on his own critical projects. He felt like a firefighter, constantly putting out small fires but never building anything. He decided to try a new approach. For the first 90 minutes of his day, he would not open his email. He would not check his phone. He closed his office door and worked, uninterrupted, on his single most important task. It felt strange at first, even irresponsible. But after a week, the results were astonishing. He made more progress on his key projects in that 1 week than he had in the previous month. He wasn't working more hours. He was working better hours. He protected his most valuable time for his most valuable work. Be ruthless about cutting out the non-essential. Learn the power of the word no. You do not owe your time to every request, every meeting, every social invitation. Every yes you give to something is an implicit no to something else. If you say yes to a meeting that could have been an email, you're saying no to an hour of focused work. If you say yes to a social event you don't want to attend, you're saying no to an evening of rest or personal development. Your no is one of your most powerful tools for time protection. And this isn't just about productivity, it's about presence. When you are constantly distracted, rushing from one thing to the next, you are never fully where you are. You're talking to your child while thinking about a work email. You're at dinner with your partner while scrolling through your phone. By failing to manage your time, you are robbing yourself of the richness of your own life. Finally, understand the difference between rest and escape. Intentional rest is not a waste of time. It is a vital component of a productive life. It recharges your mind and body. But what many people call rest is actually just escapism. Mindless scrolling, binge watching, or other activities designed to numb and distract. One rebuilds you. The other just postpones your responsibilities. Learn to truly unplug and rest so you can return to your work with renewed energy. Your time is your life, broken down into manageable pieces. Don't let it slip through your fingers. Treat it with the respect it deserves. Plan it, protect it, and invest it wisely. Because the clock is always ticking, and you don't get a refund on wasted time. Use it like your life depends on it, because it does. Chapter 5. The End of Excuses, Dismantling the Stories that Keep You Stuck. There is a force more powerful than circumstance, more influential than talent, and more destructive than failure. It's the quiet, seductive whisper of a good excuse. Excuses are the stories we tell ourselves to justify the gap between our intentions and our actions. They are masters of disguise, often masquerading as logic, reason, and practicality. I'm too tired. I don't have the money. I'll start on Monday. It's not the right time. They sound plausible. They feel comforting. They provide a temporary shield from the discomfort of accountability. But they are a poison. Every time you accept an excuse, you are trading your long-term potential for short-term relief. You are reinforcing a narrative of helplessness. You are building the walls of your own prison, one justifiable reason at a time. You cannot move forward while you are still holding hands with your excuses. The two are walking in opposite directions. At some point, you must let go. You have to make a decision that you are more committed to your growth than you are to your comfort. The first step in dismantling your excuses is to recognize them for what they are. Fear in a business suit. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment, fear of success and the responsibility that comes with it. Fear of the unknown. An excuse is just a story that fear tells you to keep you safe and small. You don't have enough experience is fear saying, what if you try and you're not good enough? You don't have time is often fear saying, this is going to be hard, and I don't want to do it. You must become a truth teller in your own life. When you hear that familiar excuse rising up, I want you to challenge it, interrogate it. Ask yourself, is this truly a reason, or is it a story? A reason is a logistical barrier that can be solved. A story is an emotional barrier that must be overcome. For example, I can't go to the gym because my car broke down is a reason. You can solve it by finding another mode of transport or doing a home workout. I can't go to the gym because I'm too out of shape and people will judge me is a story. It's a fear that needs to be faced. Let's talk about the most common excuses. I don't have time is the heavyweight champion. We've already discussed this, but it bears repeating. It's almost never true. It's a priority issue. Audit your 168 hours in a week, and you will find the time. You will discover it hidden in mindless scrolling, in unproductive meetings, in hitting the snooze button. I don't have the money is another classic. While financial constraints are real for many, This excuse is often used to avoid taking the first free steps. You don't need money to go for a run. You don't need money to read a book from the library. You don't need money to start writing your business plan on a free document editor. Often, this excuse is a shield against the fear of investing in yourself and potentially not seeing a return. And the most insidious of all, I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow is a mythical land where all our motivation resides, all our tasks are completed, and all our problems are solved. But you never live in tomorrow. You only ever live in today. Deferring action to an imaginary future is the most effective way to ensure it never happens. Action has a power that is only available in the present moment. Being honest with yourself is the antidote to excuses. It's looking at your life and admitting where you've been cutting corners. It's acknowledging the habits you've tolerated that are holding you back. It's facing the fact that your current situation is, in large part, a direct result of the choices you have consistently made. This isn't about self-flagellation. It's about self-liberation. The moment you stop blaming and justifying, you reclaim the power to change. Imagine a woman, Sarah, who wanted to leave her unfulfilling corporate job to become a freelance graphic designer. For 2 years, she told herself the story. I can't leave until I have a huge portfolio and a long list of clients. So she did nothing. The excuse seemed logical. One day, a coach asked her, "What is one small thing you could do this week to move toward your goal?" Sarah admitted she could create one portfolio piece, just for herself. So she did. The next week, she did another. Then she started a social media account to share her work. Small steps. 6 months later, she had a solid portfolio and had landed her first small client. The excuse wasn't a reason. It was a wall she had built to protect herself from the fear of starting small and imperfectly. Your excuses have an expiration date. One day, you will wake up and realize that the time you spent explaining why you couldn't do something could have been spent doing it. The energy you invested in justifying your inaction could have fueled your progress. Don't let that day be filled with regret. Make a decision right now. Choose one recurring excuse in your life and declare it null and void. The story is over. From this moment on, you are a person of action, not explanation. When the old voice starts whispering justifications, you will thank it for trying to keep you safe, and then you will do the work anyway. Because your future is more important than your fear. And the only way to build that future is to take real, tangible steps forward, all without excuses. Chapter 6. The Uncomfortable Path. Why growth only happens outside your comfort zone. There is a place where your potential goes to die. It's a warm, familiar, and deceptively pleasant place. It promises safety and predictability. It whispers that effort is unnecessary and challenges are to be avoided. This place is your comfort zone. And while it feels like a sanctuary, it is, in reality, a cage. You cannot grow and be comfortable at the same time. The two are mutually exclusive. Growth, by its very nature, is a process of stretching, of pushing against limits, of venturing into the unknown. It is inherently uncomfortable. If you are not feeling a degree of discomfort in your daily life, it is a sign that you are not growing. You are stagnating. Most people spend their lives optimizing for comfort. They choose the easy meal over the healthy one. They choose to stay silent in a meeting rather than risk sharing an idea that might be rejected. They choose to stay in a mediocre job because the process of finding a new one is daunting. They choose the familiar path every single time, and then they wonder why their life feels so flat. They have traded the possibility of an extraordinary life for the certainty of an ordinary one. You must begin to see discomfort not as a threat, but as a compass. When you feel that internal resistance, that slight sense of fear or uncertainty, that feeling that says, "This is hard, you need to learn to lean into it." That feeling is a signal that you are at the edge of your current capabilities. It is the signpost for where your growth lies. Think of it like building muscle in a gym. You don't get stronger by lifting weights that feel light and easy. You get stronger by lifting a weight that challenges you, that forces your muscles to strain and adapt. The discomfort, the burning sensation, that is the feeling of growth. Your mind, your discipline, and your character work in the exact same way. You must put them under load to make them stronger. Growth is not a feeling, it is a choice. Every day presents you with dozens of these choices. The alarm clock goes off. The choice is between the comfort of the snooze button and the discomfort of starting your day with discipline. You have a difficult conversation you need to have. The choice is between the comfort of avoidance and the discomfort of honesty. A new, challenging project comes up at work. The choice is between the comfort of letting someone else take it and the discomfort of stepping up and learning something new. Your life is being shaped by this series of small, seemingly insignificant decisions. And the people who achieve remarkable things are not the ones who are immune to the lure of comfort. They feel it just as strongly as anyone else. The difference is, they have trained themselves to choose the uncomfortable path anyway. They have learned to want growth more than they want ease. Consider the metaphor of a lobster. A lobster's shell is hard and rigid. As the lobster grows, the shell becomes confining. It gets tight and uncomfortable. To continue growing, the lobster must go through a difficult and vulnerable process. It has to shed its old shell and hide until a new, larger one hardens. The stimulus for the lobster to grow is the feeling of being uncomfortable. If lobsters had doctors, they would never grow. Because as soon as they felt uncomfortable, they'd get a sedative. That discomfort is your signal to shed your old shell. It's telling you that who you are has become too small for who you are capable of becoming. Staying in that shell feels safe for a while, but eventually it will suffocate your potential. You have to be willing to be vulnerable for a little while in order to grow. So, how do you practice this? You start small. You intentionally introduce small, manageable doses of discomfort into your life. Take a cold shower. Wake up 30 minutes earlier than you need to. Choose to do the hardest task on your to-do list first, not last. Speak up in one meeting this week. These are not massive, life-altering events. They are training exercises. You are teaching your brain and body that discomfort is not a signal to retreat, but a signal to engage. You are building your discomfort muscle. The struggle won't last forever, but the strength you gain from it will. When you consistently choose the path of growth, something amazing happens. Your comfort zone begins to expand. The things that once terrified you become your new normal. The weights that once felt heavy become your warm-up. You stop seeing challenges as obstacles and start seeing them as opportunities. You become someone who seeks out challenges, not because you enjoy the pain, but because you are addicted to the growth that follows. Don't let today be another day you play it small. Don't let comfort steal another ounce of your potential. Your best self is not hiding in the familiar. It's waiting for you on the other side of the action that scares you. The hard road is the one that leads somewhere new. The easy road just leads you back to where you started. Choose your path wisely. Choose growth. Chapter 7. The Silent Standard. Forging a reputation with yourself. Who are you when no one is watching? That question is the ultimate test of character. It's easy to perform when there's an audience. It's easy to work hard when your boss is looking over your shoulder. It's easy to stick to a diet when you have to report your progress to a friend. But what happens when the applause stops? What happens when the only person holding you accountable is the person in the mirror? This is where the real work is done. In the quiet, unglamorous moments of solitude, you are forging a reputation, not with the world, but with yourself. And this internal reputation is the bedrock of all lasting success and self-respect. If you cannot trust yourself to follow through when you are alone, you will never build the confidence to lead your own life. Most people are externally motivated. They rely on deadlines, pressure, and the expectations of others to drive their actions. When that external pressure is removed, their effort level drops. They let things slide. They cut corners. They break the promises they made to themselves. And every time they do this, they chip away at their own self-trust. Deep down, they know they can't rely on themselves. This creates a quiet, constant hum of anxiety and low self-worth. They wonder why they lack confidence, not realizing they have systematically dismantled it, one broken promise at a time. You must become your own standard. You have to stop waiting for someone else to check in on you, to motivate you, or to give you a deadline. You must become the kind of person who shows up, not because you have to, but because you said you would. This is personal accountability. It is the engine of self-mastery. Accountability isn't about perfection. You will have days where you fall short. That's human. Accountability is about honesty and course correction. It's about having the integrity to say, I didn't give my best effort today, without making excuses, and then committing to do better tomorrow. It's about tracking your own progress, not for anyone else to see, but for you. To hold up the evidence of your own commitment to yourself. Let's imagine two entrepreneurs building their own businesses from home. The first, Mark, only works when he feels inspired. If he's not in the mood, he'll watch TV, browse the internet, and tell himself he'll make up for it later. His progress is erratic, full of starts and stops. He is waiting for lightning to strike. The second, Jessica, treats her commitment like a job. She sets a schedule and she sticks to it. From 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. every day, she is in her office working. It doesn't matter if she's tired, uninspired, or would rather be doing something else. She shows up. Some days are incredibly productive. Other days, she feels like she's just going through the motions. But she shows up. Over the course of a year, who do you think is more likely to have a successful business? It's not about talent or even passion. It's about the silent standard Jessica holds for herself. She has built a reputation with herself as someone who is reliable. That self-trust is her greatest asset. How do you build this internal reputation? You start by keeping tiny promises. If you tell yourself you're going to wake up at 6 a.m., wake up at 6 a.m., no negotiation. If you promise yourself you'll go for a walk at lunch, do it. If you commit to reading 10 pages of a book before bed, read them. These are not just tasks. They are acts of integrity. You are proving to your subconscious mind that your word is law. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, you add a brick to the foundation of your self-respect. Each time you break one, you pull a brick out. Over time, you either build a fortress of self-trust or a pile of rubble. Raise the standard you accept from yourself when you're alone. Don't leave dishes in the sink overnight. Don't leave your workspace a mess at the end of the day. Don't say you'll do something later when you can do it now. These small acts of discipline in private translate into massive strength in public. You are training yourself to be a person of excellence, not because you're seeking praise, but because that is who you have decided to be. The ultimate freedom is not needing anyone else to push you. It's the internal drive that comes from a deep-seated respect for your own word and your own goals. When you have that, you become unstoppable. You don't crumble when no one is cheering for you because your validation comes from within. You keep going when things get tough because you are not just working toward a goal, you are living up to your own standard. The person you become in the dark, when nobody is watching, is the person who will ultimately determine your success when the lights are on. So hold yourself accountable. Be honest. Be consistent. Forge a reputation with yourself that is so strong you would never dream of letting yourself down. That is real power. Chapter 8. The Blueprint of Becoming. Acting your way into a new identity. Who is the person you want to become? Take a moment and picture them. Not in some vague, abstract way, but in vivid detail. How do they walk? How do they talk? How do they handle stress? How do they start their day? How do they respond when faced with a challenge? You have a blueprint in your mind of your ideal self. A stronger, more disciplined, more confident version of you. Most people keep that blueprint locked away, viewing it as a distant goal they might reach someday. They believe they must first feel like that person before they can act like them. This is the great reversal. It's backward. You don't wait to feel confident to act confidently. You act your way into feeling confident. You don't become your best self by waiting. You become it by acting like you already are. This is not about being fake. It's not fake it till you make it. It is about intentional alignment. It's about consciously choosing behaviors and mindsets that are in harmony with the person you are striving to be. It is about closing the gap between your identity and your actions, starting today. Your brain is a powerful and efficient machine, but it doesn't really know the difference between acting and being. When you consistently adopt the behaviors of a certain type of person, your brain begins to rewire itself to believe that is who you are. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. If you want to be a disciplined person, but you consistently hit the snooze button, procrastinate, and choose comfort, your actions are casting a vote for your old identity. Your brain receives the message, "We are someone who delays. We are someone who lacks discipline. No amount of positive thinking can overcome the powerful evidence of your own behavior. But what if you started casting different votes? The alarm goes off, and even though you feel tired, you think, what would the disciplined version of me do right now? And you get up. You have a choice between watching another hour of television or reading a book that will help you grow. You ask, what would the person I want to become choose? And you pick up the book. You are not pretending. You are practicing. You are rehearsing your future self into existence. Start with the physical. How does that ideal version of you carry themselves? Do they slouch, or do they stand tall with their shoulders back? Do they walk with shuffling feet, or with a purposeful stride? Your physiology has a profound impact on your psychology. Try it right now. Sit up straight. Pull your shoulders back. Put a slight smile on your face. You will feel an immediate, subtle shift in your state. Start carrying yourself like the person you intend to be. Walk into a room with the quiet confidence of someone who respects themselves. Then, move to your words. How does your future self speak? Do they complain constantly? Do they use words like I can't or I have to? Or do they speak with intention and optimism? Do they say I get to or I choose to? Start monitoring your language. Eliminate the vocabulary of victimhood and adopt the language of ownership. Speak about your goals as if they are inevitable, not just hopeful wishes. Finally, and most importantly, align your decisions. The future you is someone who is financially responsible. So today, that means you don't make that impulse purchase. You track your spending. The future you is healthy and energetic. So today, that means you choose the water over the soda. You take the stairs instead of the elevator. This process will feel like a stretch at first. It will feel unnatural, like wearing clothes that are a size too big. That's the point. You are growing into them. You are consciously interrupting your automatic, ingrained patterns and replacing them with intentional, chosen ones. This takes enormous effort and self-awareness, but it is the work that forges a new identity. When you keep showing up in this way, something magical happens. The gap between the acting and the being begins to shrink. The new behaviors start to feel less like a performance and more like who you are. Your confidence grows, not from hollow affirmations, but from the undeniable proof of your own consistent actions. You start to see yourself not as someone who is trying to be disciplined, but as someone who is disciplined. The people around you will notice a change, not because you announced it, but because they can feel it. Your energy is different. Your decisions are sharper. Your presence carries more weight. You didn't find your future self. You created it, one intentional choice at a time. You are not stuck with the identity your past has given you. You are one decision away from starting the process of becoming someone new. But it starts with your next move. Will it be a vote for the person you have been, or a vote for the person you are determined to become? Act like them now, and soon you won't be acting. Conclusion. The final proof. We've traveled a long road together on this journey. We've talked about looking in the mirror and taking radical ownership. We've discussed closing the gap between knowing and doing through the power of action. We have explored the architecture of our habits, the currency of our time, and the poison of our excuses. We have embraced the uncomfortable path of growth and learned to forge a reputation with ourselves through the silent standard of accountability. We have discovered that we can act our way into a new and powerful identity. But all of these ideas, all of these strategies and mindsets converge on a single powerful point. It is the final, undeniable truth of personal transformation. Change doesn't live in your words. It doesn't live in your plans or your dreams. Change lives in motion. Your actions are the final proof. They are the evidence that you are serious. They are the currency with which you purchase your future. You don't need to wait for a perfect moment, a grand revelation, or for someone else's permission. You have everything you need right now to take the next step. The journey to becoming your best self is not a single, heroic leap, but 1,000 small, courageous steps taken consistently, day after day, especially when no one is watching. It is the quiet discipline, the private commitment, the honest effort that reshapes a life. You have listened, you have reflected. Now the time for consumption is over. The time for creation has begun. You have the blueprint. You have the tools. The question is no longer what to do, but will you do it? Will you prove through your actions today that you are the architect of your life? Will you build something you are proud of? Your life doesn't change when things around you change. Your life changes when you decide to lead it. Stop waiting for your life to happen to you and start making your life happen for you.